Hello, everybody. I hope you are not too dizzy from the lunch break, and I can give you a little bit of what what the Hive is doing. And my talk, I would like to give two type of messages. One, a bit of a presentation of actually our work with the semantic web technology, our expertise around this topic, and especially in the pharma domain realm. And then I will also take the chance to present you FAIRSPACE, one of the tools that our company is providing. So, but before, I also want to put a disclaimer. There's not going to be a very technical, nitty-gritty, detailed talk because it's really more to give you a glance what Andrea said about the industry use cases. And I start also to give you my perspective, where I come from. I'm trained as a biotechnologist, so really lab work. Then jump to the bioinformatics side and also fell in love with all networks and how the power of networks can give to exploring data. So having this as an introduction for me give me a chance to present you the team that I lead at the Hive, and is a team of data modelers, data engineers, software developers, and with this team, what we really do and focus is open source solutions. Open source solution and also consultancies around FAIR principles, how to implement this concretely in a daily work of companies, biotechs, pharmas, or academic sector. And then at the Hive, of course, our expertise rely a lot on also bioinformatics knowledge and skills. So saying that, I also want to give you the idea of the tool that we have, open source tool that covers several type of domain, the target discovery and the cancer genomic with the Open Target and CBio portal. Odyssey is for the real world data. And we have heard actually this morning some nice presentation that brought this framework also with Ecuvia. And so we are also busy with that community as well. And then also we have two tools that we build ourselves in collaboration also with the consortium. And one is related to remote patient monitoring, which is database. And the last one, which is the topic of this presentation, is FAIRSPACE. But before to get into the details of this tool, because again, I like to show you a bit what are the possibility, what are the use cases that we were able to serve with the tool. I would like to give you the idea of the way that we work, the challenge that we work with. And I think, well, the very popular one, the one that I think everybody here is repeatedly mentioning it, is related to a data integration challenge. And more specifically, also the problem to search the data and the right data. And this is in the case of a pharma company. If you imagine the whole process of the R&D discovery, is obvious to know already that the massive and the heterogeneous amount of data is sometimes too big to actually achieve collaborative type of work, and especially if you are familiar on the process of how a pharma works. At the end, it's not so obvious that departments work with each other, and then the workforce can really leverage fully the entire potential of the data. So these are statements that I think are well known, and is really actually a real problem in pharma as well. And to narrow down on the specific challenge is really the search and browse of that data. It's become a key point to serve and to think how can we best help there. And here I was trying to look for some quantitative type of information that could, provide a little bit a glance of how does it cost actually, how much it cost this problem of not finding information. And I found this figure coming from actually a research from the International Data Corporation, where it shows really a research across several pharmas and try to quantify on how much time, for example, knowledge workers spend only to search for those data instead of actually working for their the skill set for what they like, right? So for what they were hired for. So the analysis part. And here all these huge bars that goes more or less so above the 50% are all type of percentage that shows how big of a cost or how big of priority is this finding of information. Not finding of information problem. And the conclusion actually on this report was very interesting because they tried to convert this in money. And then you can read that the enterprise employing 1,000 knowledge worker waste $48K per week, or nearly 2.5 million per year, due to the inability to actually find the information. Again, when you put this into perspective of numbers, it also sounds different and maybe give even more importance to the challenge. And coming from this point of, okay, search is a problem, search is something that we want to serve, but at the same time, we at the Hive, we tackle several type of customer wishes and need before even coming to us and say, okay, one of our needs is finding the right data. That is one of their problems. Other problems are also related to, well, then we want to actually reuse this data, and again we want to reduce the workload of these of our worker. So this in essence are the three most common issues that we always have to handle it when we have when we face someone with the data integration challenge. And then when we want to transform this into more practicalities, so in terms of, okay, which type of technology we are going to suggest, which type of actual tool we suggest. Here we always collect a very similar technical requirement: consolidate data from multiple sources, connect them with the various applications, and gain a unified view. What I'm trying to say here is maybe repeating the same story that, again, maybe all of you are aware of. And once it comes to us in the industry and say, okay, how can we best serve? We realize that having only a tool, it does not always answer the need. So that's why I like to show you, before to get into the details of FAIRSPACE, and show you how does it work, this tool, in answering those specific challenge. I would like also to give you the idea that when someone from a pharma, for example, or biotech, come to us to say, okay, we have this data integration problem. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 wishes. Well, we try to look at also other type of challenge that maybe in the organization are present. And these always start with the question of, is there a data strategy present in your organization? Do you have executive, or do you have actually maybe a mandate that can, give you some guidelines on the tool that you want to use? And often we see that is not always the situation. Often we see that actually there is very few knowledge on the entire overview of the data asset that in the organization is there. When we face with this situation, for us it's way difficult to say, okay, this is the right tools. So we start to come a little bit more on the consultancy aspect and leverage our expertise on the FAIR principle, our expertise on semantic modeling, technology, all this, try to bring to a bit more, stakeholder alignment. And also we do a proper evaluation of the data asset, and we call it the data landscape exploration. And what does it mean? Is really going through the different data assets, understand what they look like, where they are located, actually going even farther into the stakeholder alignment among concept like FAIR, understanding actually what are the gap between the ideal stages that maybe the organization want to go to the reality that the people are facing with data management. So this is one layer, and then only after this step, we could then go and practically say, okay, we come now with a more technological assessment and recommendation. And here is where we do actually an architecture um, um, plan. And in this case, I'm really talking about a data platform, for example, that maybe the company or the organization needs or the department needs. So we really put the Fair by Design label on this type of work. Why? Because after you do that gap analysis and that data landscape exploration, then you go a bit more into detail too. Okay, then we can recommend XYZ technology. And then when it comes to the stage of implementing this, we are also able, of course, but then, well, specifically the team that I lead is very much into implementation related to semantic data model or semantic layers and knowledge graph also. And in these regards also, we try to see if a fit of FAIRSPACE could be a possibility. So maybe a long journey to come and now to present you FAIRSPACE, but I thought that this was an important message that I want to give, because it's not only really about a tool, it's very much about understanding how the organization look like, how the organization handle, manage, and the data, and actually what is the view of the future. Do they want to really be fair, really? And how far this is from reality. So saying all of this, now there is the FAIRSPACE use case presentation. And again, the challenge here is a bit what I presented at the very beginning. We have this top 5 pharma that want to establish an enterprise tool to search and browse all sort of metadata across the different R&D asset, okay? And then luckily, we came in a moment in which this all data strategy and at least a bit of requirement gathering was done before. So we were able actually to quite easily fit our tool. But of course, as always, we go with the POC, and this POC really entails serve a specific use case. And in this scenario, we had clinical study. So that type of data, actually already they created a data model related to those clinical study. And they want to be able to search and browse associating with omics data. And in this case, imagine, for example, proteomics or RNA-seq or any type of omics that you can list now. Now, as I said already, FAIRSPACE was the solution that we proposed that could fit. And then here some components for the more technical people to just understand a bit what is the back of what are the component that actually this tool is based on. And as you can see, RDF, Shackle, Sparkle is basically the core component of this of the tool. FAIRSPACE is, as I said, open source, and the way that this tool was fitting the use cases is because, as I mentioned, we had the clinical study and omics study, and those were already crafted in 2 different data models. And the strength of the tool is basically leveraging the RDF schema, having a possibility to customize fully that metadata model. So the researcher could browse both metadata from the clinical side and the omics side. And we were able actually to provide this. This is really the home page, very basic, because we like also, this is the not the original one, but is a test one, but we like to let it a little bit open the UI for customization. And as you can see, these 2 boxes were the basically the 2 instances of of FAIRSPACE that could connect the metadata, could connect the information from the 2 different resources. Now, I call it metadata, the clinical study, and metadata omics, the omics one. And if you enter in one of those, for example, the metadata part, the way that the UI works is really based on filtering the information that you need. And then you will have several pages, several search views where you can see, for example, study, subject, sample that are already present in the model. So this is the also other customization that is possible in this tool, that what you will see is really based on what in the model is present. And then when you will click, for example, in a study, you will see more metadata, and then eventually you will also end up in the source um, uh, where the actual data is located. And here I show you, for example, this is the visualization from the metadata from the clinical part. Now all the information is a mock-up, so don't take it specific, but you can see, you can look at subject, gender, species, and then you can browse further through sample and study and subject, and all underneath is connected because we leverage this, the linked data. And then the metadataomics is a similar view, but in this case with experiment analysis and samples. So totally different view because totally different model. So this also, to conclude, is a little bit a roadmap of the homepage, very basic that you see, but we are always very proud to say that one of the power of this tool is the customization aspect, not only from the metadata model, the data model part, but also from the UI part. So that's why we keep this mock-up for future inspiration. If it needs also a cross search among the different domains, this eventually is a possibility to do. And I conclude with basically the message of this is a tool that indeed we think is very powerful for the fact that can be customized very easily from different data model across multiple sources. I show you now the example in pharma, but we have also at the booth an example more specific on nutrition, and I suggest you to go and look at the QR code. And saying this, thank you for the listening, and I hope to enjoy the rest of the conference.